I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Hello, it is Nikki here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing 2-letter keychains. Both of those letters are in after putting out the video that I did for my sister's birthday, which I did a letter keychain. In that video, my god sister saw it and she was like, girl, make me one. So as you just saw, I am going in with Nikkie Blue, which is my glitter. You can find that on my website, as well as some blue dried flowers. So I currently have 2 different letter molds. This one here was the first one I bought. And so this end is backwards. So everything I'm doing it in the reverse. You're going to notice that particularly when I'm putting the flowers in the resin, that I'm putting them in face down because the front of the mold is the opposite. So for this one here, I am working in the reverse. And that's something you got to remember depending on the mold you buy. So here I'm just mixing that glitter in the mold, and I'm picking up with the sticks to check the consistency of the resin. Because I wanted a little bit more opaque, I did add some more glitter, and I continue this process just until I get the consistency that I want. I want to make sure that it's opaque and that you cannot see any clear. So I want to fill it in as much as possible. So now I'm going in and I'm pouring that clear on one side and that mix of Nikkie Blue on the other. And I want it to meet directly in the middle. Now the key to this is pouring it in at the same time. It gives it that even mix to where it meets in the middle, because if you pour too much blue, it's going to overtake the clear. And then if you pour too much clear, it's going to overtake the blue glitter. So you kind of have to have a balance so it meets in the middle. And so now, as I mentioned earlier, I am going in with the flowers, and as you can see, I am putting those flowers in face down. Now the key to making sure you don't get any bubbles is once you put it in the resin, you want to press it down all the way to the bottom of the mold, and that prevents air pockets from getting under that flower and creating bubbles. So I'm just going in and repeating that step, getting the different flower types and inserting them into the mold. Now, this mode is in the regular way. As you can see, when you write this in, it's a regular in. So I am actually not having to work in the reverse with this letter. And going forward, I will probably buy these types of mold with the letters the regular way, then backwards, because I'd be confusing myself sometimes. Especially with certain letters. Like, it's hard for me to figure out, like, which way is this? But I'm going in with some gold leaf and some green pigment powder. Now, I forgot to mention that I am using JDiction 1:1 ratio epoxy resin, and it does take a 24-hour cure time when working with this resin. And so I just cover it and let it sit for 24 hours before coming back to do the second half. So this one here requires a second step. You're gonna see it. If you saw the thumbnail, you will see that I did a little extra with this one. I'm going in and making sure that the makeup powder is completely mixed into the resin and that there is no lumps or chunks of makeup powder still floating around in there, because if it is, it's gonna mess up your whole entire piece. So you definitely got to mix it good and make sure that there's no, all of that makeup powder has dissolved and there is no chunks. So I am spraying 99% alcohol in the resin. That helps with eliminating the bubbles at the bottom of the resin. So originally, when pouring these two, I was going to use the same technique that I did with the first one. However, I added just a tad bit too much gold leaf, and the consistency of the resin ain't the same. Like, the more dry material you put into resin, it changes the consistency. So for this one, I kind of had to scoop and pour, because it wasn't moving. I had to scoop it out and put it in there. Not that it's going to not cure anything like that. However, it just makes it just a tad bit thicker. So the method of putting it in the mold is just a tad bit different. That's all. So this is the next day after I have let it cured. I end up using my Cricut to not type, but print out her name, and I'm going to apply that to the letter. Now, Chad, me and that Cricut had a time today. OMG. I finally got it together. It took a minute. It took a little practice, but I am doing reverse weeding because it is it's a little technique that I learned on YouTube when working with my Cricut, to how to reverse weed, especially when working with little pieces. However, that was a time too. That it was a time trying to do this, but I got it, and I'm so proud of myself. What helped, especially instead of wasting vinyl, because I have a quite a bit of cardstock paper, I use that as test pieces to see what the name will look like when cutting it out, instead of wasting my vinyl. So that did help. I did have to go through a few pieces before I finally got it to where sized it right to where it fit in that space before using the vinyl. So that's the tip that I can give if you are doing your Cricut. Find something that cheap, get some cheap cardstock paper from Dollar Tree or something like that, and then cut it out on there before using your vinyl, especially if you new. That worked for me because I did waste a few vinyl pieces before I realized this ain't gonna work. This, you gotta find a better way to test it to make sure this gonna come out right. So now that I got my vinyl weeded, I am going in and applying that name to that letter. And then we want to make sure that it is, what I should have done was sprayed it with alcohol a little bit to help with the adhesion, but it worked nonetheless. So these are the two letters. I created that L because they had some extra colors left over, so I just picked the letter and made the L. And I did end up making these two pendants as well. So I'm gonna throw the two pendants in as free gifts. So here I'm going in with my JDiction UV resin, and I'm going to dome the pieces. Doming is just like giving it a shiny little top coat. That's just like the same thing you do for your nails. You got to do that sometimes with your resin pieces, and I tend to do that with UV resin only because it don't take that long. Just put that top coat in and stick it in the light. So you do need a UV LED light to cure these. So to fully cure my UV resin, you do have to leave it under the UV light for 3 minutes. So it takes 3 full minutes to cure these to perfection. So I am using this silicone pencil to make sure that UV resin is getting up all the way until the edge of the piece. So here I'm showing you how I'm putting the keychains together. Now, unfortunately, 90% of this is off camera. So I did piece together as much as I could to give you an idea of how I put it together, but I couldn't stay in frame. And these long, cute press-ons that I got from my nail sister, Nene, they didn't help the situation. Just trying to get those little pieces with them nails, it was a struggle. So I understood completely when I went to edit why I didn't have most of it, because it was a lot. But I did piece together a little bit. So I hope you enjoy. If you've made it this far in the video, I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. If you're new here, you're not subscribed to my channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. To my returning subscribers, thank you so, so much for your continued support. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. And until the meantime, bye-bye.
What a wonderful world.